I'm Michelle Sider. I'm a mixed media artist working mainly in glass, and we are in my home in Michigan. And on the wall behind me is the portrait of my great-grandmother Anna that I'm going to be talking about today. Anna was my maternal great-grandmother. She was a very kind and loving woman, but she was also very resilient and courageous and determined. So Anna was born in 1894 in a village outside of Odessa, Russia. There was a lot of pogroms happening, and it was very dangerous for Jews to be living in Russia at that time. At 12 years old, she ran away from home because her stepmother was very unkind to her. And she went to go live with her brother, David, who was a poet, and he was writing poetry that was against the Tsar. His writings ended up landing him in jail. And at the age of 12, she would visit her brother in jail, and she would smuggle out his writings in her bloomers. This glass mosaic is based off of a photograph that was taken in 1910 when she was just 16 years old. I transformed the original photograph into a mosaic, first by creating some drawings and studying her face, and then I transposed it onto the background. So you can see here, I started drawing on the background her face from the original photo, and then you see me putting the glass on afterwards. One other thing you can see here in the process photos are Trotsky's writings that I have placed underneath her skirt, which will later on be partially covered up with the blue translucent glass. There's also the process of starting to get some of the Trotsky's writings in the clouds here. I spent a lot of time thinking about the different glass choices for this piece. There's flat glass, there's really thick glass that I chiseled, translucent glass, gold, iridized glass, transparent glass, and each type of glass was put down not just because it was aesthetically pleasing, but because it helped to tell the story. One of the things that I loved about this photograph is that it had all these rips and tears in the original photograph, and I wanted to include them in the mosaic itself because the rips themselves tell stories. In the mosaic itself, I represent these tear lines with gold pieces. The idea comes from the Japanese fine craft of kintsugi. If something is cracked or worn or broken, that you don't cover up those cracks, but you actually celebrate them. Our cracks, our aging process, all that is part of what makes us ourselves. And by repairing the cracks in gold, it emphasizes those cracks, these parts of the story. But it also makes the vessel itself stronger. And I love that symbolism for a person, that our cracks and our wears and our tear and what we've gone through makes us stronger. And I really feel that that was the case with my great-grandmother. I chose some flatter glass for her face, very detailed eye. I also chose to use stone and an undulating surface underneath her body so that the light catches it at different times and that the crystals in the stone itself really shimmer and shine. So each portion of this piece, if you look carefully, has all different materials, and each one is doing something very different for a particular reason. I hope that it can bring the viewer to think about their own relationship with members of their family, their legacy, what they've learned, those things that they, courage and resilience and stories that they carry with them from their ancestors.